You can bring as many gladiators as you wish. But these are not the death pits of Dur, and I am not a sleeping Trandoshan god.
What'd you think about this chapter?
Dude, let's just do it. I mean, I was watching the show. I was already enjoying this episode a lot more than episode 1. When we seen Boba go to that cantina, Garza's sanctuary.
Yeah.
When he goes to Garza's sanctuary after the mayor sends him there to say, "Hey, you may want to check something out." And we hear the drums. Did you know what was coming when you heard the drums? Did you suspect the Hutts coming or the twins?
No, I didn't suspect I knew somebody important was coming because the fanfare, they've been telling Boba Fett this whole time, like, whoa, I didn't expect you, where's all your entourage? Where's the
You're
big,
not being carried in, yeah.
right, where's your big whoop-de-doo? So when you actually started to see that come around the corner there in Mos Espa, it was like, oh, somebody big is coming. Then little did I know
big
that
was coming.
Two somebody bigs were coming, yeah.
But just seeing them alone, because we've only seen them in animated form. So seeing them in live action, that was cool enough. That would have been.
I've never seen them before. What were they in the Clone Wars?
Yeah, they were in the Clone Wars animated.
Okay. How are they related to Jabba?
Cousins, I think.
Okay.
From Al-Hutta. I mean, basically, they don't get out very often. They have their certain areas. And now that Jabba has been dead, and that territory has basically been open for the entirety. Well, actually, it wasn't all that long, I think, a time between when he was killed in the barge.
Probably about 5 years, because he was killed in the barge in Return of the Jedi, and that's when Boba Fett went into the Sarlacc pit. And the Mandalorian time frame is like 5 years post Return of the Jedi.
Ah, yes.
And that's where the current story takes place, is right around that Mandalorian time frame. So yeah, it's been kind of like the Wild West there at Tatooine for about 5 years with a big power vacuum.
So when they come in and they look at him, and he just stares them down. I mean, they all know each other.
Yeah.
And he's standing there, and they call him basically a bounty hunter. He's like, "No, I'm the major domo here. Back up." And then they bring their muscle in. And as soon as I seen the back and the shoulder, I knew who it was, and they got the first holy crap out of me. I'm like, there's so many avenues this badass Wookiee can go. I mean, honestly, I would take Krrsantan over Chewie.
Oh, as far as he looks bigger than Chewie, right? He looks a little broader than Chewie. Yeah.
He basically, we hear him talking about the pits of Dune. I can't think of the top of my head. But yeah. He volunteered to go into slave fighting.
Yeah.
And he won his freaking, his freedom through that. He was the only volunteer to do that.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's just, there's so many avenues. There's avenues with Dr. Alphra. There's Vader. There's Jaba. I mean, there's 2 droids that if I see, holy crap, dude.
That's the thing. You and I are like, so that this character. This character's the live action. For people who are just watching the live action stuff, maybe the movies, people's just watching Mandalorian or now this new show, The Book of Boba Fett, they don't know who this character is.
No, that's the thing. Even the cartoons, you wouldn't know what it is. You have to know some of the comics.
Right.
You have had to at least read maybe one of the Vader series or the Dr. Alphra series to actually know who this is. So I'd say good 90 to 95% of people who've seen him for the first time this past episode would have no clue. They did not get the reaction out of them like they got out of me. Like I stood up.
Christopher's asking, are we going to see him in Kenobi like in the comics?
Dude, they're setting it up.
Yeah.
They are really setting it up. Like it's possible now that they introduced him in this comic, not in this comic, in this show with Kenobis, we may see Jabba send Black Krrsantan after the Owens because they weren't paying the water tax. And the reason they weren't paying the water tax was because Kenobi was telling them not to.
Yeah, and Wookiees live a long time, right? I think Chewie's like 250 years old or something.
Yes.
And he's still fairly young as far as Wookiees go. So yeah, this Black Krrsantan character has been around for a few generations now. I actually know him. I do know him from the comics too. There's the actual Star Wars comic line that takes place simultaneously with the Vader one. Basically, it's the story of Luke, Leia, and Han in between the movies. So during that time, Luke, Leia, and Han were on this planet in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. and Black Krrsantan comes down, and basically him and Chewbacca get in a fight, and Chewbacca barely escapes with his life in the comic that I read. So that's my understanding of this character. I'm like,
Oh
wow.
yeah, he is a badass.
Yeah.
And he winds up working side by side with Vader, looking for Dr. Alphra.
Yeah.
And then eventually he works for Alphra so much that she owes him such a debt. He doesn't leave. He's like, you know what? I'm sticking with you because I'm taking my cut.
Right.